I'm very excited to start learning the Sefer HaChinuch with you. As some have shared, they'd like to engage in some learning together online. And so we're going to learn a halacha a day, a Jewish law or a Jewish practice each day. And on some occasions, if folks have suggestions or ideas of a halacha we can learn together, please send it forward and we can explore a particular issue. And on some days, we'll just go forward with the Sefer HaChinuch. The Sefer HaChinuch, the commentary on the Rambam, on Maimonides' Sefer Mitzvot, listing of the Mitzvot, that kind of goes in order through the Torah as we see the Mitzvot. And we're mostly going to deal, when we do the Sefer HaChinuch, we'll deal more with principle than application. However, if folks submit questions or ideas of halachot to explore together, then we can look at some more detailed application issues as well. So I hope you'll pick up a Sefer HaChinuch so we can learn it together today and in general. So we'll start with the very first one, the very first mitzvah in Sefer HaChinuch, which of course emerges from Sefer Bereshit, from Parshat Bereshit, the very first mitzvah of the Torah, according to the Chinuch. It says, Yesh ba mitzvah taseh achat. There's one positive mitzvah. Vehi mitzvat priya urvia. The mitzvah of Peru, Urvu, to be fruitful and multiply. Shenamar, as it says in the Torah, right there in Genesis 1:28, Vayvarech otam Elohim vayomer lehem Elohim Peru Urvu. That God commanded, that God blessed them, and God said to them, to Adam and Chava, Adam and Eve, to be fruitful and multiply. Really to the world, be fruitful and multiply. And so we see right there from the beginning that this mitzvah is foundational to the Torah. In fact, my teacher, Rabbi Dr. Yitz Greenberg, talks quite a bit about how the affirmation of life itself is the foundational ethic of the Torah. The dignity of life, our ethical responsibilities to maintain life, both the quantity of life, as we'll see from Peru Urvu, quantity, but also he talks about post-Holocaust, after the Shoah, that we should also ethically and halachically be concerned about quality of life, as applies in end-of-life decisions as well. So you can read a lot more about Rav Yitz's positions on life affirmation and how that influences his thinking of Jewish philosophy and Jewish ethics and halakha itself. So we go on. Misharshe mitzvah zo, kedei sheyeh ha'olam miyushav. That really what we're dealing with here, the purpose of all of this, is that the world should be settled, inhabited. We should have ha'olam miyushav, that we should have a settled world. We should seek to cultivate and build a world that is full of holiness and full of life. Ultimately, the honoring of life, of human beings, of all sentient beings, of all creatures. Of course, the animals are also commanded in this mitzvah, which is fascinating. That animals are also commanded to be fruitful and multiply. And they get this also from Isaiah. She'Hashem Baruch Hu chafetz b'yeshuvo ki dichtiv. It says in Isaiah, Lo tohu bara'ah l'shevet yetzara. Right? That God did not create the world in chaos. He didn't create a chaos, but rather God formed the world to be inhabited. Actually, it's interesting. The mitzvah of Peru Urvu itself falls upon men, not upon women, according to the majority position. There are some minority positions out there that say it falls on women also. But Tosfot in Gittin 41 argues that it's true Peru Urvu falls on men for various interesting halachic and philosophical reasons and practical reasons. But that Tosfot says settling the world is a mitzvah that falls on women also. So what does that mean? There's an act of intimacy, of relations, and how the mitzvah plays out there. But then there's also the consequence of those acts in terms of actually settling the world and building the world. Because the mitzvah of Peru Urvu is not merely about marital relations, nor is it just about childbirth. But it's actually a life commitment we make towards children and towards grandchildren and towards children in general. That children shouldn't be vulnerable in our world, that we are responsible for them, to love them, to teach them, to care for them. So the mitzvah of Peru Urvu is about parenthood and about society building and about life affirmation. And so it continues here, V'hi mitzvah gadola, shebesibata mitkayamot kol ha-mitzvot ba'olam. That all the mitzvot emerge from this, right? That in fact, all the mitzvot are fulfilled through Peru Urvu. That if we come, not just to have children, but to affirm life in its fullest sense, that all the other mitzvot spring forth from this. If we truly value how short our life is, how valuable our life is, and Kav Chomer, that through empathy to value someone else's life, right, then we will come to see our Creator, to love our Creator, and to affirm our responsibility both to the Creator and towards all humans and towards all sentient beings itself. Ki livnei Adam nitnu velo malchei hasharet. That the Torah was given to human beings and not to angels, right? That procreation itself, I mean, what a gift that the joy of those who love each other consensually engaging in relations is itself a mitzvah, the first mitzvah of the Torah, that to share love, to affirm love and intimacy, and to bring the wonderful gift of a child into the world, those who are blessed to do so. That itself is not just a human pleasure and delight, and that should give us nachas, give us joy and pride, but also that it's the fulfillment of the first mitzvah of the Torah. And I mean, it's interesting that the Yanklowitz, actually, the 18th century Turkish thinker, says that the mitzvah of Peru is actually a spiritual, intellectual mitzvah, that we fulfill Peru Urvu through chidushei Torah, that when we have insights in the Torah, that are intellectual and spiritual, that itself is a fulfillment of this as well. So I see somebody just sent in a question. Is it possible to fulfill the mitzvah without having children? So the easy answer is yes. I mean, when we see this Yanklowitz, which is interesting to think about, around the spiritual, intellectual insight as a fulfillment, but also those who foster children and those who adopt children are fulfilling the mitzvah Peru Urvu, right? That yes, we want to put children into the world and settle the world, but we also want to make sure that those children are cared for. And so raising children, we become their parents, the Talmud says. We become their parents. When they're called to the Torah, they're called through our name, those who have adopted them, those who have adopted these children. So absolutely. Now, it's an important question that was asked of how do we fulfill this. Beit Shammai famously says you fulfill the mitzvah through having two boys. It sounds like a strange position. Where's the girls? How do you build a world without girls? And the proof brought there is that Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, has Gershom and Eliezer. So of course Moses must have fulfilled the Torah, right? So Moshe had two boys. So that's clearly in the mitzvah. But we hold by Beit Hillel, as the Rambam says in Ishut 15:4. I mean, we generally hold by Beit Hillel, but the Rambam says over there that we fulfill the mitzvah, Beit Hillel says, with one male and one female. And of course, what's the proof there? Creation, Bereshit, right? That God created the world with one man and one woman, one boy and one girl. And so, halachta b'drachav, imitatio Dei, by imitating God, we too look to be creative, biologically creative, spiritually, intellectually creative, to emulate that practice. And so we have the challenge of overpopulation. Today we have the challenge of overpopulation. Of over 7 billion. Was the last I saw, over 7 billion people. It's a challenge. Now the Jews, we lost a third of our people. We had roughly 18 million, and we lost about 6 million in the Shoah. And so we're looking to build up Klal Yisrael once again. And actually the Haredim, the ultra-Orthodox community, is very good at this mitzvah of having many, many children. And we certainly don't have to have that many children. And it's posing some demographic problems for what the future of Israel looks like. If it's primarily a population that doesn't serve in the army, that doesn't enter the workforce, that doesn't pay taxes more or less, that does pose a challenge. So there's an interesting demographic problem, and it's a challenge for liberal Jews to think about of how to fulfill the mitzvah of Peru Urvu. And most certainly we should engage in all the blessings of technology when struggling with infertility wherever possible, and to fund those who can't fund themselves to support this. And to be sure, this mitzvah of Peru Urvu, as mentioned, is about our entire life. It's about children and grandchildren, and it's about society, and it's about children. So the mitzvah of fostering and adopting children, check out yatom.org, yatom.org, where you can learn more about engaging in the mitzvah of fostering and adopting, as a way to fulfill the mitzvah and as a way to enhance the mitzvah as we currently live through it, and a way to beautify the mitzvah in a deeper way. But it's something that we can all engage in, and certainly this is true for those in gay marriages as well, and for single individuals who never find their life partner. That everyone in their own way can engage in the mitzvah of Peru Urvu. We'll close this mitzvah by looking at Yevamot 61b, interesting Talmudic tractate here. And by the way, if you have any other questions or thoughts, please send them in. Someone's passing some notes to me as anything comes in. And if it comes in after the recording, I'll continue to engage in the conversation. So it says, Rav Nachman said in the name of Shmuel that even though a man has many children, he may not remain without a wife. Right? Even a man he's fulfilled the mitzvah Peru Urvu, he still can't remain without a wife. And the first reason is it's not good that a person be alone. Lo tov hayot hadam levado, as we see in Bereshit, in Genesis. But others say that if he does have children, then he may abstain from procreation and may even abstain from taking a wife altogether. So here we see an interesting argument of what's the purpose of marriage, of our life partnership itself. And according to the second position is that it's all about children. And in fact, if we've already fulfilled Peru Urvu, or we're already past the age where we can have children, then we don't have to get married anymore. Because it was all about children, ultimately. That everything was built around Peru Urvu. But the first position we saw is that lo tov hayot hadam levado, that it's not good for a person to be alone. That partnership, love, marriage is about primarily existential. It's about loneliness and responding to that loneliness through partnership and through love. So it's important that as central as Peru Urvu is, that our marriages, our love never be defined solely through marital relations and through children, but also through cultivating that love. And by modeling in that loving relationship what it means to have unconditional love, regardless, that we also model for children what that can look like. So we conclude here our first mitzvah of Peru Urvu, and we can all feel challenged to say, that we should seek to have children. We should seek to take care of our children and grandchildren if we're so blessed. We should seek to support those who struggle with infertility, engage in the mitzvah of supporting children through adoption and fostering, and various legislation that comes with that, or if we're not fostering and adopting, supporting others who are doing that as well. And as we said with the Yanklowitz, to think about our own creativity, to emulate God's creativity through being intellectually and spiritually creative as well. Thank you all so much. I look forward to learning with you. Kol Tuv. Have a great day.